You thought finding peace within would quiet the storm outside, didn't you? But instead, as your breath deepens and the mind begins to still, life starts unraveling in ways you never expected. Relationships shift, old wounds reopen, and chaos rises from corners of your soul you didn't even know existed. This is not a mistake. It's the hidden law of inner awakening. When the mud settles, the water may clear, but what lies at the bottom will shock you. As your mind stills, it no longer drowns in distraction, and in that silence, you begin to hear the screaming of unresolved karma, the whispering consequences of past actions that no longer have your denial to feed on. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha taught that mindfulness brings insight not only into impermanence, but into suffering and the illusion of self. And as your inner eye opens, the world you built on delusion starts to tremble. You're not being punished, you're being purified. Stillness is not an escape. It's an invitation to the raw truth. And truth, by its nature, destroys all that is false. That includes false identities, false attachments, and false stability. Your spiritual path is not meant to be neat, nor kind to the ego. It's a sacred fire, and as the smoke clears, what rises to the surface is everything that must be seen to be freed. The still mind is like a mirror, polished for the first time. It doesn't distort anymore, and what you see reflected might terrify you. That argument with someone close to you, that sudden fatigue, that unexplained anxiety rising during meditation, these aren't signs of failure. They are echoes of the inner storm finally meeting awareness. When your mind becomes still, it no longer blocks the karmic seeds you've sown. Now you feel them sprouting. And it feels messy because you spent years, lifetimes even, suppressing them. This is why the stillness you crave also seems to call chaos into your life. Not because the practice is wrong, but because it's working. You begin to wonder why people start avoiding you, why conversations feel empty, why friends you once laughed with seem uncomfortable in your presence, as if your stillness threatens them. And it does, because without realizing it, your vibration is changing. Your frequency is no longer compatible with those who still need noise to hide from themselves. The Dhammapada warns that few are those who reach the other shore. Most people remain clinging to the near bank, to habits, to identities, to the safety of ignorance. When you stop clinging, when you choose to look inward instead of outward, it threatens the very fabric of the reality others built for comfort. So they retreat, not because you've done something wrong, but because your transformation is a mirror, and what it reflects is unbearable for those not ready to face their own illusions. This is the secret pain of spiritual growth. Not only do you shed old versions of yourself, but you are forced to watch others walk away, not understanding what you're becoming. And in the emptiness that follows, your practice deepens. But so does the loneliness. You must understand, this isn't abandonment. It's the karmic clearing of energies that no longer align with the path you're walking. The mind, when still, becomes like a torch, illuminating the cave of samsara. You begin to see the debris of your own past choices, the lies, the attachments, the unconscious patterns, and each realization strikes like lightning. It's overwhelming, but necessary. Because real awakening isn't soft, it's surgical. You start to feel everything. The sorrow in your chest that's been buried since childhood, the rage that was never voiced, the grief of lifetimes sitting in the bones of your body. And just when you think you've touched rock bottom, something stranger happens. The chaos outside intensifies. Your job may become unstable, your health may fluctuate, and your sense of identity may feel like it's dissolving, all at once. This is not a curse, it's purification. Just as a fever rises before healing takes root, your life dismantles everything that cannot survive in truth. And when the outer world seems to disintegrate before your eyes, you're being forced to confront the deepest illusion of all, that you were ever in control. The ego hates this. It screams in silence, clinging to the last remnants of its identity, trying to rebuild the cage you just broke down. But this collapse is sacred. It is the shocking, hidden grace that precedes liberation. The Buddha taught that all conditioned things are impermanent, and yet you never realized how much of your life was built from conditioned thoughts, until they began to collapse under the still gaze of awareness. This is the warning most people never receive, that silence is not the end of suffering, but the beginning of its true exposure. As your mind quiets, the defenses fall away. The subtle currents of craving and aversion that once went unnoticed now scream within you. You see clearly how often your peace depended on circumstances, on people behaving a certain way, on outcomes aligning with your desires. Now, without those distractions, the raw state of your attachment is exposed like an open nerve, and it hurts. But you must not run, because this is the crossing point, the terrifying, beautiful doorway between the self you were and the being you are becoming. You're no longer numbed by the distractions of noise, of chasing, of clinging. In this stillness, karma reveals itself. The echoes of past actions ripple through your present not as punishment, but as echoes seeking resolution. The pain surfacing now is not random. It is the return of forgotten seeds finally sprouting because you stopped drowning them with unconscious behavior. This is why your life feels more chaotic as your mind becomes more still. You're not broken. You're becoming aware. You're not falling apart. You're shedding layers of illusion that cannot follow you into clarity. And even when the path feels cruel, it is in fact exact. Every discomfort, every loss, every unanswered prayer is the medicine tailored precisely to your blind spots. This is not the universe punishing you. It is the Dharma correcting your course. Stillness doesn't invite peace right away. It invites the truth. And truth, when it first arises, is rarely comfortable. You might feel betrayed by the very path that once promised serenity. But this is the secret few ever speak of. Awakening is not an escape from life. It's a deeper confrontation with it. You asked for clarity, and now you are being shown everything that was hidden beneath your distractions. You asked for freedom, and now your attachments are being torn from you, not cruelly, but precisely. In the stillness of mind, the illusion of separation begins to unravel, and with it comes the unsettling realization that so much of your suffering was never out there, but constructed from the inside. This revelation alone can feel like a spiritual earthquake. The shock of knowing you created your own prison brings grief before it brings wisdom. And in that space, many turn back. But the Buddha never promised that the path would be easy, only that it leads beyond suffering. You may feel alone, even abandoned, as those who once resonated with your old self drift away. They don't understand the silence you now inhabit, and you may not know how to explain a peace that feels like fire. But this is the stage the Dhammapada hints at when it says, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." You are learning to listen to that one word, the wordless teaching of presence. And yet, while your inner world grows still, your outer life may appear to fall into disarray. Why? Because your frequency is shifting. The people, places, and patterns that were anchored to your former identity can no longer find purchase in your vibration. You begin to feel misaligned in rooms you once felt at home in. Conversations feel shallow. Social masks grow heavy. You crave truth like breath. This isn't regression. It's purification. Your mind's stillness is exposing every compromise you made in order to belong. Every lie you told yourself to feel safe. Every avoidance you called peace. And now, without those escapes, you are face to face with your raw self, unguarded, unmasked, unfiltered. It's terrifying. It's liberating. It's the silence before the storm of transformation. But you must understand this. The chaos that surrounds you now is not evidence of failure. It is evidence that your awakening is working. When the pond of your mind is agitated, debris stays hidden. But when the water becomes still, everything buried begins to surface. This surfacing is not punishment. It is purification. You are not losing control. You are shedding illusion. Your mind, once addicted to distraction and numbing, is now becoming a sharp mirror, and in it you see everything. Your fears, your attachments, your karmic loops. As the stillness deepens, karmic seeds that have long lain dormant begin to ripen, not because you did something wrong, but because you now have the capacity to face them. This is the hidden mechanism behind why your life feels messier the more centered you become. You are not being broken down, you are being refined. It is not that your spiritual practice has summoned the storm, it's that it has removed the barriers that once shielded you from seeing it. You were always standing in the storm. Now, for the first time, your eyes are open. The Buddha taught that all compounded things are subject to dissolution. Your relationships, your identity, even your belief in how life should be. So when things begin to collapse, don't cling. Don't mourn the version of you that life is stripping away. That self was never built to carry your liberation. You may feel as if your life is burning, but this is the sacred fire of impermanence, and only that which is not truly you will turn to ash. Let it. If the world around you begins to reject your stillness, it is not a sign to stop. It is the world's unconscious defense against its own awakening. You will be misunderstood. You will be questioned. You may even question yourself, but remember this: the lotus doesn't grow in pristine conditions. It rises from the mud. So if your life feels muddy, heavy, uncertain, know that the lotus is near. Keep going. Keep sitting. Keep listening to the silence that speaks without sound. The mess is not your enemy. It is your initiation. If your practice has made life harder, it means it's finally working. This is the razor's edge the Buddha walked, not away from life, but through it with eyes unclouded and heart unguarded. So here is the challenge. Don't chase the calm. Chase the truth. Don't seek to escape the mess. Let the mess reveal what's real. This is not the breakdown before the breakthrough. This is the breakthrough. And if you can sit through the unraveling, what remains will not be your old self improved, but your true self unveiled.